Dating after divorce from a divorce lawyer. Look, I may not have the right opinions or the most popular opinions, but I'm gonna tell you, I know how women are, or at least this woman are. And if you would want to date a woman after divorce, be direct and do what you say you're gonna do and tell her that she's pretty. It's pretty much that simple. Just like, hey, I think you're pretty. I'd like to take you to dinner, and here are my intentions. I'm sure the women would just like fall around your feet if like you're, in your own league, right? So like, don't be crazy. But being direct, that's how my husband, I'm divorced and remarried. That's how my husband got me. We joke all the time about, he had a really limited window because he was in town visiting his law school roommate who I worked with at the time. And he went, knowing him now, it's very funny, but he went from 0 to 100 real fast, and it worked like a charm. So we sat down at this restaurant, and he like reached across, he's gonna kill me, reached across the table and like held my hands in his and talked about how whenever he took me to Paris someday, whew, I was hooked. Paris, you mean France, not Paris, Texas? Sign me up. And he talked about eating a baguette on the river Seine. And I was like, you say that word like sin? I don't even know what you mean, but that sounds so dreamy. And that was it. So be direct, do what you say you're gonna do, and tell her she's pretty. And guys, that's it. The worst things a guy could do in the dating scene after divorce, I guess I'm qualified to talk about this because I am divorced and have dated after the fact, but I don't know if I represent all of the opinions of women everywhere. However, not doing what you say you're gonna do, or just like popping in and out, ghosting or whatever. Just communicate what you want in the order that you want it within a reasonable time frame. Basically, just act at least as decent as you would act as to a potential prospect for your business. Like treat her as if she was a potential new client. That's right there is a really good idea. That's what you should do. Is if you would like her to hire your business, act like that for the date. Introduce yourself. Get to know them. Be around them, right? People do business with who they know, like, and trust. Keep showing up. Keep doing what you say you're going to do. Honor your commitments. That's what you do. If you want to get a woman after divorce, I need you to be a little old-fashioned. And what I mean by that is act with masculine energy in the situation. So let's say you go out on a date and it goes good, and you would like to see this pretty woman again in the future. After the date that night, you may say to her, hey, I had a great time tonight. I'd love to see you again in the future. Maybe you'd even do it in real life to them when you're at the table before it's even over. This was nice. Would you like to do it again in the future? Close your next date. All of us in any kind of sales know this. When you're in the first meeting, you close for the next meeting. Do that in your date. Tell them, I'd like to see you again. Remove all of the question marks in their mind. You're an adult, especially if you're dating after divorce. You've already been through this. Tell her that you'd like to see her again. Yeah, get the yes. Maybe if you didn't do it at the dates, tell them that night, I had a really great time. Hope you made it home safely. And then the next day or so, follow up and say, hey, I'd like to take you out to dinner. What are you doing on Saturday? It's that easy. Another mistake guys make in dating after divorce is don't at least a little bit play the game. And here's what I mean. I'm not a game player. If you know me in real life or even watching these videos, like it just kind of is what it is. However, when my husband Drew and I very first started dating, like it was this whole, nobody would ever text anybody within 20 minutes. And like, are you available on Wednesday? And it's like a week ahead. Yeah, I'm available in a week. But like this sort of sequencing of events, now we've reflected, and that's not how either one of us are. We're just out with it and let's make a plan sort of people. But Drew said to me, and I thought this was so cute, that like I had to show that I know how the game is played. Because if you come on too strong, you're not sort of abiding by these rules of engagement, then she's going to think you're weird or don't know how to do this. So just put a little bit of time, space between the communication so you don't come on too strong and like needy. You got to get the balance right. But I would favor directness over absence, and just insert a little bit of space so that you're showing you know how the game is played and you don't want to like totally smother her, and kind of strike the balance between the two. Another piece of advice people will give you in dating after divorce is to match the energy of the person you're trying to date, guys. Like, does she want more texting or less texting? I'm going to tell you that advice is BS. What you need to do is be yourself. What works for you? What do you want? How do you want to behave? And then let that attract who needs to come in and repel who needs to get out. Those of us who've already been married before know you're wasting your time if you're trying to be someone else to fit their needs. What you need to do is show up as your real self from the beginning. If you're a needy SOB and you need to talk every 5 minutes, then be that guy so that she knows what she's getting into and you don't waste either one of your time. So show up as your real self and forget any of this advice that tells you to meet them where they are. Meet you where you are. One key piece of dating advice for after divorce I learned when I was in college from Kurt. And I was telling Kurt about some guy I was seeing, and he was so cute, and he had blonde hair, and he'd been in the military, I forget what. And I was just, so Twitter-pated and infatuated. And he said, it ain't gonna work. It shot off like a rocket. It ain't got nowhere else to go. So a lot of advice you may hear is like sometimes you just meet them and you just know, and from that moment forward, you were inseparable every minute. I'm going to tell you to slow your roll because otherwise it's going to take off like a rocket with nowhere else to go. Insert some space, slow things down so that you don't get totally caught up in emotions and feelings and give it no place else to go. So like my advice would be to put at least a day or so between the dates in the beginning so that everybody can cooler heads prevail and make rational thinking decisions in addition to emotional decisions. No matter how much you feel like it's the right fit, your future self will thank you if you insert a little bit of space. Potentially unpopular dating advice from a divorce lawyer. Guys, I need you to pay the bill. I don't know, and that is going to be unpopular among some of my law mom friends and other friends, but it's just what I feel, at least for Hannah Hembree Bell. If I was ever going on a date, I expect the man to pay the bill, and that's probably old-fashioned and antiquated, and I have no rational basis for feeling that way, but if you don't, we wouldn't be having a second date. Here's the thing. I don't want you like fighting over the check, right? If she is super duper insisting and like really, really means it, I guess then you can split the tab. But generally speaking, when that guy's coming and you can feel it's time for the bill, I want you grabbing that wallet and getting ready. Don't make her in this weird moment at first where you don't really know what to do. I'm going to tell a little bit on my husband, Drew, who's a really good sport. When we were very first dating, we were in New Orleans and I was a single mom. I had gone through a divorce and was living paycheck to paycheck. Not a good job, but still, it's like takes a lot to run a whole household. And we were down on Bourbon Street, I think that place is called, and went to eat at this hamburger place. And whenever we go, and this is Drew Bell, pre-boyfriend, like way back a long time ago, whenever we went to eat at the hamburger place and the bill came, he didn't do the go for the wallet move. So it was this whole like weird moment. So I got my card out. I'm a broke single mom and he's a lawyer at a big law firm and I'm paying the $50 meal bill for the burgers. He was lucky I ever went on another date with him after that. I was very annoyed and we definitely talked about it like once we were close enough for us to be able to do that. Now, number one, I didn't have as much money, but for me, I want the guy to do that sort of thing to sort of show leadership and to show provision and I don't know, the masculine energy thing and I'm in my feminine energy and that's kind of woo and it's not the most, I'm still a feminist, but I want the guy to open the door and pay for dinner. So dating after divorce, tips from Drew Bell, it worked for him because he landed me. What Drew would say is the third date needs to be some sort of an active date. So maybe like the first couple dates might be a drink or a dinner. And on date 3, that's when you're really making up your mind whether you're moving forward or not. So something like go to a baseball game. I don't know. He didn't say I'm sure he did not say bowling. I'm saying bowling. Something where you could, I don't know, are you both like to do frisbee golf or do something out and about active. It gets you out of your head and into your bodies and like you're active and moving around and can kind of flirt a little bit and see if there's a vibe. So on your third date, by then, I think you should take him to do something active and fun if you're dating after divorce.